Hey everybody, really excited to speak with Chapman, who just broke into Placer.ai. Awesome background, really excited to share your story. And I know there's going to be a ton for people to learn listening to how you broke in. Maybe just setting the stage for everyone, share a little bit about your background and what got you looking at tech sales in the first place.
Yeah, so basically, my background is I've always been in sales, not necessarily with formally tech or anything like that. But I got out of high school, went right into like trying to be my own entrepreneur, Amazon FBA a little bit, and then I was selling jewelry, was into fashion, so it kind of made sense for me to try and find my way around that, and ended up not working out. Spent like a year and a half in car sales and just did not like the work-life balance or culture. And then I have friends already in tech. So after talking to them and having a few conversations, I decided this is what I wanted to do. I wanted my life back. I wanted that work-life balance to be, at least somewhere in there. And then they already have their lives in tech. I don't want to take up all their time. And so I found myself over here at higher levels. So.
Yeah, it's awesome, man. And I'm curious, along with that, right? Like you've got potential connections. I know you had some car sales experience, so you have sales experience. You mentioned a little bit, maybe looking for that guided structure, looking for a little bit more formal training. There's a lot of programs out there. What made you say, hey, higher levels is the best fit for me? Did you even look at anyone else? I'm just curious what went into that decision.
I didn't look at anybody else just because I actually I would always see you guys for around like a year. Because I was talking to my friend that was in tech. He's one of my closest friends, and he's been my friend for around like 12 years. And I always would have conversations about what his life is because he broke in with Salesforce, and he actually moved to Austin around like 3 years ago just to do it. And so I've always kept up with tech, and you guys always popped up first. And even then, I kind of watch you guys here and there, but after kind of making the decision with myself, like, hey, this is what I wanted to do, I looked into your guys' paid programs and I was like, okay, like, let's just do this. So I didn't look at anybody else. You guys'
That's
free
awesome,
stuff
man.
is more than enough. So
No, I appreciate that. And obviously stoked for the result. I know maybe giving some free value out there to everyone that's maybe on the outside looking in. You had tons of different interviews, and I'd love to start there, looking at your interview process. You don't have a degree, but you do have some great experience. I'm curious if you experienced any hurdles there. What were some of the things that you did that really got you several different interviews, let alone an interview with Placer?
so when it came to, we'll start with specifically Placer. I've reached out to 4 different hiring managers, and I cold email them. I try to connect with them on LinkedIn. I'd follow up with them if they didn't respond. And so I actually had spoken to one of the managers over there, and they gave me a conversation. And I actually spoke to another rep at the company, and he's talking to me about how he's currently basically how he's maneuvering within the company as they're doing a reorganization right now. And he's just wanted to make sure that this is a company that I wanted to work for still. And so he put in a good word for me, and he actually helped me a lot with the interview process as he's been there for a few years. So just having someone on the inside really did help me set up for like what I should be doing. And then, yeah, just following up. And then he actually sent me in the right direction to a recruiter as well. So I reached out to him and, name dropped the SDR that helped me. And then all of a sudden I had an interview. So that was the start of that.
No doubt. That's awesome to hear. And those are one of many examples of things that most people aren't even doing. But I would say even the people that are doing that aren't doing it at a very high level. It's one thing to send a message. It's one thing to say like, hey, would love to like talk, but actually doing that effectively and making yourself stand out is a totally separate challenge. Maybe looking at other parts, call it mid to final round interviews throughout multiple different companies. I know you had some cold call or cold messaging exercises, I believe, and maybe a few different other types of exercises. Never having done that in tech before, any challenges there? How'd you prepare? Any advice to anyone that's preparing for those themselves?
So what I did was, I guess, very unorthodox. How you guys usually will make a go-to-market 90-day plan, and you'll send it to them. I know people have been breaking in that way, or at least getting an interview. I had spoken to the rep that was an SDR, and I sent him mine, and he's like, dude, this is great. Like, I've never seen this before, because he used to be an SDR manager. And he's like, even when I was hiring, I've never seen this before, because he thought I was going to present it during my interview. So, I went and did that just because I was like, what do I have to lose? I've been doing all these interviews anyways. And when I would narrate what I was doing in that go-to-market 90-day plan and telling them like specifics as to what I'd be doing, and they were all like blown away with it. So because of that, I honestly like fast passed that whole interview process in like 3 days.
Oh,
And but That's basically what I did. It was a little bit different than all the other interview processes where I was prepping, but just making sure you have like the best questions that actually make the interviewer think and makes them think, hey, like you have your own type of worth. So you're also interviewing them instead of you just kind of, cookie cutter. Oh yeah, this is me, and this is me. This is what I do, and this is why I'm fit for the role. I actually kind of, ask them questions about their answers too, and kind of dive into it. It's a conversation. So
Yeah, totally. I think it's just those little things end to end, really position yourself as different to your point than the average candidate who's just reacting. They're just kind of like waiting and nervous about what the next question is as
right.
opposed to taking control of the situation. Really well said and tons of great nuggets here. Maybe just looking back on the whole experience, whether it's breaking in or anything along the way for anyone on the outside looking in, any advice you would give to call it your younger self or someone who's on the fence about making the change themselves?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing that really helped me too is just not being afraid to take interviews. And like, yes, of course, you want to be able to take an interview and get an offer, but if you get shot down, don't let it completely hurt you. I remember when I was prepping for my first interviews and I'd prep for like 2 hours before just to get shot down. I mean, that's a part of sales, right? If you can't take a no in the interview, how are you going to take a no from any type of client? And from there, it's like you got to have all that prep, but you also have to have confidence in yourself when you go into them, because you can just be nervous and, they can kind of see that. But just that whole thing of making sure you're confident when you're saying things, and it's okay to go off track a little bit in the sense of like you have an answer in your head, but just make sure you're human, make sure you're having a good conversation, and also keep that in mind while you're also, doing the things that you get from higher levels in terms of, keeping your answers concise and all of that. But mixing that confidence with the structure that you guys provide will bring you crazy results.
Yeah, it's awesome, man. And love to see it. Placer is like a great company. And also, you're the second person that has ever broken in there from higher levels. So it's been a tough nut to crack for everybody. So super stoked to see the result. And yeah, thanks again for all the advice. If there's anything else that you haven't mentioned, feel free. But thanks again, Chapman. This is a great conversation.
Of course. No, I mean, like I said, just if you're in sales, every no leads to a yes, right? So just keep going for it. Don't stop.